Chapter number 6, Monumental Architecture.
Hello children, welcome back to your SST class. Today I am going to start a new chapter in history, monumental architecture, chapter number 6. So you all can open your book on page number 49. Let us start the chapter. In this chapter, children, we are going to study about the different type of buildings, monuments, temples that were being built by the rulers from time to time. Till now in history you studied about the different types of dynasties, different type of rulers, about their life, who came after the other king. Okay, now this chapter is little bit different, wherein we are going to study about the architecture. Okay, so now before proceeding, first of all we'll know what is the meaning of the word monument. Monument means a structure which is made by some king to keep alive the memory of a person or an event. Okay, means they have constructed these monuments, temples and buildings so that people can even remember them even after their death. A large number of monuments were built during the medieval period. The kings, they built both the religious and secular structures. Religious monuments, they included temples and mosques, whereas the secular monuments, they included forts, palaces, tombs, tanks and wells. Next is why architecture. Have you ever thought that why the medieval period is so rich in architecture? There are several reasons. First reason is the kings, they built the forts, palaces, tombs to impress the other people with their power, position and wealth. This means why the kings used to build these palaces, these forts, because they wanted to show their power and their position as well as their wealth. Secondly, they celebrated their victories in wars by building these monuments. Means whenever any king, he wins any kind of war, in that case the king used to show his victory by the construction of these monuments. Third, the king wanted to demonstrate their devotion to God, so they did one thing, that they used to build the palaces of worship like temples and mosques. Next is kings, they wanted to build the structure that would act as the makers of grandeurs of the era gone by. These structures would also enable the future generations to remember their builders. This means they wanted that the future generations should remember them, that they have constructed these type of buildings even after the time when they were not there. Last was, kings also engaged in the construction work to earn the goodwill of the people. Digging wells, building tanks, they were the praiseworthy activities. Means kings also used to engage themselves in the construction activities so that they can build up their goodwill. Goodwill means that will help them to increase their reputation among the people. People will remember them, and they also used to engage themselves in the construction of wells, tanks and the activities which were considered as the praiseworthy activities. Next is the architectural styles in India. In India, there were mainly two types of architectural styles. One was the Nagara style and the second was the Dravidian style. The Nagara style of temple architecture was mainly found in North India, and it was basically curvilinear temple towers which end up almost in a point, whereas the temples which were constructed in the South India, they were marked by a pyramid temple tower type. This means the temples which are in South India, they have the towers in the shape of pyramid, which is known as Vimana at present. And another prominent feature of this style, that is the Dravidian style of architecture, is that they have pillars. Moving further, we'll study about the architecture that was popular during the early medieval period. We'll study about North India. In North India, the Nagara style of temple architecture was popular. The Chandelas, they built many temples at Khajuraho. In all, there are 85 temples in Khajuraho complex. You can see the pic. Most of them, such as Parshvanath Temple, Vishwanath Temple, and Kendriya Mahadev Temple, they were constructed in Nagara style. Whereas the temple of Odisha, that is, which was earlier called Orissa, there are some temples which are famous there, like Makteshwar Temple, Lingaraj Temple at Bhubaneswar, Sun Temple at Konark, Jagannath Temple at Puri. These are some of the temples which have been constructed on the basis of the Nagara style. Okay. Some more temples are there, like Dilwara Temple at Mount Abu, which is in Rajasthan, and this temple was built by Solanki rulers. These temples, they are of white marble and they are decorated with beautifully carved sculptures, and they have the designs like of flowers and plants. Next is South India. The temples of South India were different from the temples of North India. As I've already told you that the temples of North India, they were based on the Nagara style, whereas the temples of South India, they were based on the Dravidian styles. The Pallavas, Pandavas, the Cholas, they were the great temple builders. The Pallava kings, they built Rath Temple, Shore Temple at Mahabalipuram, and Kailashnath Temple at Kachi. The Pandyas also constructed many temples in Madurai. Next is Cholas. You have already studied about Cholas in your previous chapters, who established their powerful empire in South India. So the Cholas, they built a large number of temples like Brideshwara Temple, which is also called Rajrajeshwar Temple at Tanjore, which is also known as Thanjavur. It is a very well known temple. Next, Raja Chola, he dedicated it to the worship of Lord Shiva. This means this temple is in Kerala. It is one of the very good temple that was constructed for worship of Lord Shiva. And you can see the picture of this temple. Chola temples, they were built in Dravidian style. Early temples, they were very simple structures. Later, they became very big and grand. Grand means they became very big in size. Now you can see how these Dravidian style temples were built. What were the features of these temples? The gateway of the temple, it was known as Gopuram, and the main shrine where the image of the god and the goddess was kept, it was known as Garbhagriha. Mandapa, that was generally situated in the front of main shrine. Mandapa or Mandap, which was basically a audience hall where the people, they used to gather for the prayers. And on the top of the main shrine was a tall structure or a tower that was known as the Shikhara. The life in the Chola period was generally centered around the temples. Temples, they were not only the places of worship, but they were much more. And the settlements means people used to generally live near the temples. Many temples were the center of craft production as well, because there were a lot of skills used in making of these temples. Large temples, they owned a lot of land gifted to them by the rich kings and the rich land owners. And the land that was given for the construction of temples was known as Devdana. The tax that was collected from the land was used for the maintenance of these temples, as well as for the people who used to work there, like the priests, dancers, musicians, and garland makers, as well as the idol makers, cooks, and many others. Temples participated in the trade also. Inland trade means the trade which is done within the country, and overseas which is done beyond the country. The priests, they taught the children in the courtyard of the temple, and during this time, that is the Chola period's time, temples, they were the hub of social, economic and the cultural life also. Moving ahead, the next topic is we will study about the architecture during the Sultanate period. The Turks and the Afghans, they were the Islams, and they introduced some styles and the techniques of architecture. And when their style of architecture got mixed with the Indian style, this gave birth to Indo-Islamic style of architecture. And some of the architecture that was constructed in this new style were palaces, mosques, forts and towers. Now we will study what were the features of this Indo-Islamic style of architecture. One of the important features of the Indo-Islamic architecture were the usage of arch, domes, minars, and they were generally built in the red sandstone, and they were decorated with floral means the designs of flowers, and geometric designs they were used to decorate. Okay, and the verses means the important lines were being taken from their holy book Quran. Motifs were also used in some structure, which means a decorative image or a design which was being repeated in order to form some pattern. Okay, now we'll study about the monuments which were constructed by the Delhi Sultans. They built the different types of monuments. Some of the monuments were Quwwatul Islam Mosque in Delhi, which was built by Qutubuddin Aibak. Then another was Adhai Din Ka Jhopra, that was a mosque in Ajmer. Quwwatul Islam was sponsored by Qutubuddin Aibak, who was the founder of the Mamluk dynasty. It was constructed in the year 1193. It was not just the symbol of the might of Islam but also the might of the new political authority. Another important architecture is Adhai Din Ka Jhopra. It was said to be that it was built in 2.5 days, and it was designed by Abu Bakr of Herat and was constructed by Qutubuddin Aibak in the year 1192. This is also one of the very good example of the early Islamic architecture. The construction of this structure was completed in the year 1199. Next important monument of the Delhi Sultanate is Qutub Minar. Qutub Minar, the construction of Qutub Minar was started by Qutubuddin Aibak. Means he constructed the first story of the Qutub Minar, and the next stories were being added by the Iltutmish. Qutub Minar is a masterpiece of Indo-Islamic architecture, and the height of Qutub Minar is 72.5 meter. There are 378 stairs, and it is mainly built of red sandstone, and somewhere white marble is also used. Some inscriptions have been inscribed onto it in calligraphic style, and the decorative carvings are also being used to decorate this structure. This structure was being named after the famous Chishti saint Sheikh Qutub Uddin Bakhtiyar Kaki. Now, Qutub Minar is the UNESCO World Heritage Site, which means that it is a landmark or an important area selected by United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization for having the cultural, historical, scientific and other forms of significance, which is legally protected by the international treaties. The places which are included in the World Heritage List, they have some special importance for everyone. That's why they are included in that list. So we see that Alauddin Khilji, he took a lot of interest in building activities. He built Alai Darwaza next to Qutub Minar, which is made of red sandstone, Alai Minar near Qutub Minar, and it is also said to have been built by Alauddin. There are some other monuments also which were built during the Sultanate period. They were the monuments of the Tughlaqs, Sayyid and Lodi period. They include Tughlaqabad Fort, Firoz Shah Kotla, Bara Gumbad, Sheesh Gumbad, the tomb of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, Firoz Shah Tughlaq, Muhammad Shah Sayyid and Sikandar Lodi. The Khirki, Begumpuri, Jamali, Kamali and Maut Ki Masjid, numerous Baulis, and there are many other structures in and around Delhi which were being constructed during the Sultanate period. So, with this we come to an end of our first video. We'll continue in the next video. Till then, bye bye.